Okay, class. Today we're going to be taking notes on how to draw noses. So you can title your page Noses. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a pencil and I'm going to leave a little bit of room at the top of my page. And I'm going to start with drawing 3 circles. I'm going to do one that's a little bit bigger than the others. My first one's going to be about the size of a US nickel. And the 2 smaller ones are going to be right next to the big one, and they're going to overlap. So there's 1, 2, and this is number 3. And it kind of looks like a water molecule. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that there's a light source right here. So I'm going to draw this little tiny sun. And what that's going to do is make this side the shadow side. So I'm going to start by making this the bottom of the nose. And from there I'm going to draw a little loopy to represent the nostrils. And there's the other one. And now this side's going to be a sphere. I'm going to erase these overlapping parts because I really don't need them. And I'm going to start shading each of these circles like they're their own sphere. So I'm going to start first by shading inside of the nose because it's dark in your nose. So I'm going to shade pretty hard. And then on the right side, I'm going to press harder with my pencil. And I'm going to shade it like it's spherical. Since this is furthest away from my light source, this is going to be the darkest side of my nose. I'm going to keep shading. And as I go up the circle, I'm going to press lighter. Add a little more shadow at the bottom, maybe make it darker here, and then I'm going to use my finger to blend. And when you use your finger to blend, you tend to take a little bit of the pencil off, so you might need to go back in and add a little bit more later. I can erase the top of this circle because I really don't need it anymore. And now I'm going to go add some more pencil back in, shade it a little bit darker. That looks pretty good. And my biggest circle here, I'm going to erase the top of it. This is going to be like the front part of the nose, which is kind of like the squishy part of the front of the nose. And I'm going to shade that like it's a sphere as well. So this is my shadow side. It's the side that's farthest away from my light source. And as I go up towards the left side of my sphere, I'm going to press lighter and lighter with my pencil. And then I'm going to use my finger to blend. I'm smudging those tones together. I'll add some more pencil back in. Got it a little light. Add some more on this part. Blend it up a little bit. Noses are an interesting challenge because there's not really an outline. They're kind of part of the face. And the only way we can show them is by shading. So it's okay if your blending comes off of the edges of your circle because we're going to shade anyway. Shade inside of this nostril. Now this one is the closest one to my light source, so this will be the lightest side. The bottom will be the darkest because it's on the underneath side. And as I go up and around, I'm going to press lighter, then I'll blend. Erase what you need to. Blend, blend, blend. Pencil, pencil. Add a little bit more. So I don't necessarily want them to look like 3 separate spheres. I'm trying to sort of blend them together so it looks like one shape. Like they're all attached. And if I need it to be a little bit lighter in some spots, instead of erasing, I'll stipple with the eraser. So my shadow is going to be on the right side here. So far we've only done the bottom. Now I'm going to do the side. So this will be the darker side, the side that's furthest away from my light source. I'm going to shade up the side of the nose. And I'm going to bring that shadow into the spheres so it starts to all be attached to each other. Blend it with your finger. You can use a Q-tip if you have one at home to blend things, but I like using my finger. And now I'm starting to sort of blend this out like it's going towards the outside of the face. And then on this side, that shadow will be a little bit lighter. And I'm kind of starting almost in between the nostril and the big circle. So the smaller circle and then the bigger circle. And I'm bringing it up the side. And I'm pressing really lightly. And since I'm using a mechanical pencil, it's harder to blend. So the way that I'm doing it is I'm almost hatching. And then I'm blending it with my finger. So now I'm pulling that blending out further to make it look like it's got a face a little bit. And I'm going to keep going back and adjusting and readjusting and fixing and making sure that it's starting to look like a nose. Add some stuff down here underneath so it's not just floating. These are those little lines that connect to the lip. Shadow on this side, pull it over, and give it some shading right underneath because your nose would cast a shadow. More shading on this side, underneath, blend, blend, blend. Add some more pencil back in. Little shadow on this side. Blend it out a little bit. Almost there. It's looking pretty good. I think it's starting to look like a nose on a face. That little bit of blending on the outside gives it that little something that I think it needs. There we go. Now for your cartoon character project, you're going to use probably something simpler. So here's a little chart of cartoon noses. These are things that I've seen done. I've seen these kind of triangle-y shapes, and I've seen circle-y shapes. I call these letter B or D noses. And I'm going to make this category of weird stuff down here with this question mark. So for these triangle noses, I've seen them where they're really big. And I've seen them where the top is pretty long and the bottom is short. I think even probably your anime style characters have these noses where they're a little bit curved on one part and there's a shadow maybe. These circle noses, I've seen them where they're really big, kind of round. And I've seen them where they're like half circles. So they kind of look like little mountains or hills. Sometimes they have nostrils drawn in them like a pig nose. These letter B or D noses, I've seen them where they're small on top and really big on the bottom. And I've seen them where they're really long on the top and the bottom is like a cute little button nose. I would say even a character like SpongeBob has a nose like this where it's short on top and really long on the bottom. This category I've seen weird stuff, like jelly roll noses for older grumpy characters. And I've seen like kind of W shapes for noses. And I have seen little tiny dots drawn to represent noses. And if you're doing something like a cat or a dog animal character, sometimes an upside down triangle will do just fine for a nose. And that's it.